Hey, what's up YouTube and all you crazy Rush fans out there? We're back with the actual Patreon pick for Thomas Babayan, and it is the isolated drum track of La Via Strangiato. And you would have seen on the previous video they actually reacted to the original song, well, the song in concert form, and it's the first time I've ever heard that song. So I'm going to check out the drums now. Obviously, I realize this is going to be, and I'm assuming this is going to be the album version isolated drum track. I don't know how else you can isolate a drum track. So I realized that the live concert version is the live concert version. This is the isolated version of the album, so it's going to be slightly different. But I just did want to have a little bit of a frame of reference for what I was about to hear on the isolated drum track, so it just made a bit more sense to me. As I tried to clear up, also on the previous video, Rush Week, what happened to Rush Week? It's a valid question, and not an excuse, but just to sort of explain things. I'm working through the Patreon requests at the moment. So I get a Patreon request for Rush, I'm going to do it. Just general requests for Rush, I just can't do it at the moment because I'm trying to honor the Patreon requests as they're supporting the channel. Oh, another thing I should mention, the previous Rush videos that I've done, just so you know, I put out the word on the 27th of August. That was when I just asked what you wanted to hear, because people were generally commenting that they wanted to hear some Neil Peart on this channel. Then I started with the Rush Live in Frankfurt video. Well, it was a drum solo. Then we had Xanadu from Exit Stage Left, 1981. Then it was the YYZ Rush Live in Rio. I realize I'm only just scraping the surface here. They've got a massive back catalogue, so we're only just getting started. One other question that's popping up, because apparently I said YYZ. No, what did I say? YYZ. Hold on. I don't even know how to say this letter anymore. What did I say? Okay, Dan Moyer. He's chipped in. You're from New Zealand. Rush is from Canada. It's definitely YYZ, not YYZ. Right. Now, again, just to explain what's going on there. Yeah, Dan, you're absolutely right. Here in New Zealand, we say Z as well. What happened, strangely enough, this is a bit of a weird story and a little bit of a tangent, but I started a drumming podcast, and I started interviewing a lot of American drummers from the United States. Every time I mentioned the NZ drummer podcast to them, maybe it was my accent, or maybe they just don't know what Z is in letter terms. No one knew what I was talking about. So I started saying Z, and I started interviewing more and more American people, and it was just easier to be understood, because every time I said Z, they just, what? NZ. What? NZ. What? That gets very tired very quick, so I started saying Z. But happy to say YYZ for the Rush fans. Oh, and I guess the other bone of contention has been, dude, you're a liar. I'm not saying the Rush fans were saying that about me, but people thinking it's really odd or weird or disingenuous to say that this is the first time I've heard Neil Peart or Rush. Now, again, I've mentioned this a bunch of times, and I've stopped sort of replying to this individually on the comment thread, but Rush was not a band here. Did not make it here. Yep, you'll find small pockets of people who are fanatical Rush fans in New Zealand. I had heard of Rush. I'd certainly heard of Neil Peart. No doubt about that. He's a cover of modern drummer, level drummer. That's absolutely without doubt. But Rush, the band, the songs, not a thing here. Not a thing in New Zealand at all. Didn't make it here. Just like many #1 hit songs or bands that make it here, you would certainly never have heard of over in Canada or the United States. No chance at all. All of that out the way, let's get into this isolated drum track for Thomas Babayan. Hearing some very, very faint Spanish style guitar. I might have to skip past this on the actual edit, because dead air, never a good thing on a video. Hey, there he is. Hey, this is very quiet. Oh, they're fading him in on the mix. I got this on full. This is as loud as I can go. Hey, here we go. Hey, thank God for isolated drum tracks, eh? And thank God for YouTube. I'd be really curious to know when the song was recorded and how they were recording. So hearing the other instruments just very faintly, are they recording live and we're getting a little bit of bleed here? Or is this coming through his headphones? He'll have his headphones pretty cranked. It could actually be coming through the headphones into the overheads. I'm guessing they tracked this, knowing the Rush ethos a little bit better now. I'm guessing they just tracked this as a band, as a 3-piece, lay it down live. Could be wrong. Let me know in the comments. Let me know how they were tracking back then and how they'd sort of tracked through their career. Really reminds me of a Gadd type groove, Steve Gadd kind of groove there. That's where he switched to the traditional grip in the live version. All these different sections in a Rush song, it's such a great vehicle for virtuoso players to expand, try different things. Great build and intensity there. those internal dynamics with the ghosting as he's sort of crescendoing in intensity. Just check out this with the ghost notes coming in here. I'll just back it up 15 seconds. I'm going to assume as well this is one take from start to finish, which is pretty outrageous considering what he's going for here and how complicated the arrangement is and how he's tying it all together, gluing the whole part together with pretty outlandish fills. And it's very melodic too. I mean, for just a three-piece, they obviously like to cover a lot of territory sound-wise, and he's doing that on the kit. He's got tune percussion, he's got a massive drum kit, he's got timbale sounding high tune toms, all kinds of sounds that he can access, keep it interesting, and they can just switch gears just like that. It's really cool. There's this big band jazz fandom or roots, should I say, coming out, and a lot of that fast open hi-hat stuff, and then the tom ostinatos like this. Yeah, I love how they wear their influences on their sleeves, and I really dig it. Sing, sing, sing. We got a little bit of sing, sing, sing. Gene Krupa going on here. wonder if those some of those tom fills, dare I say it, I wonder if some of those are overdubbed, only because of the stereo effect. They could do that in the on the post, but just a thought. Just a thought. Hit me up. Don't hate me too much. Hit me up in the comments, guys. Yeah, now that is a take. That is a take on the drum kit. Thomas Babayan, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. And thank you so much for the request. I hope you dug it. Please be sure to subscribe, hit the like button, and I'll catch you on the next video. All right, ciao for now.